Hello everyone. I wanted to give you a video so that you could refer back to this as you're writing your report. Now, I've been showing you two sample reports. Now, these aren't perfect reports, but they're at least a good indication of what you should have. So I'm going to go through each one and just kind of highlight a few things. One is that they both are in Times New Roman and 12-point font. They have their headings are bolded and actually in the same format. So this is all the kind of accepted APA way of writing reports. I know that we tend to look at other fonts, but the Times New Roman they found is easy to read, and it's also dark enough for people to read fairly simply. The other important thing about having these headings in the way that you have them is to give the reader, once you get to start looking at these reports, you can actually go through quite a few students' reports very quickly if you know where to find the information. So that's why we keep with these same headings. So as you can see, it starts out with the student demographic information, so name, birth date, language, disability. Notice that they've both described the disability, not in a lot of detail, but at least enough so you know, oh, this is what their emotional disturbance is, or this is what we're looking for with their specific learning disability or with their intellectual disability. Then it goes into, so for this person, they put the assessments used, the instruments used. I really like that, and that's really helpful when you're going through and reading, and we'll get back to that in a little bit. You also have the educational history. So this person started out with the educational history right off the bat, and the health records, and then family input. This student did more of just kind of the background, where she included a little bit more explanation of the disability and what got the student into special education, including the SELT score. So here we go. We've got the student history here. So then the writer goes through and tells a little bit more about, where the student has come from. And then another sentence about the Woodcock-Johnson and the Brigance. Once again, note that the health records are in there, the family input is here, the teacher input, the observation. So all that qualitative data that you were asked to get was put in here. Now, this student also included a piece about the culturally responsiveness and what she was doing to ensure that the student was taken care of in the best way possible. And then she went through and talked about the different assessments. She gave a sentence about each assessment. So here, Matthew was assessed with the Woodcock-Johnson 4 and the RAP 4. The Woodcock-Johnson 4 is a norm referenced, age 2 to 90 plus assessment that can be used to diagnose reading disabilities and cognitive abilities using 20 subtests measuring reading, writing, math, academic knowledge. And the RAP 4 is a criterion-based test that measures the basic academic reading skills for 5 to 94. So as you can see, they both put in there the information about the tests. This student actually had hers up above in the instruments used in assessment. So you can see that information's there so that you know what kind of tests the person was looking at. So here's the results from this person's Woodcock-Johnson, and you can see that the student was below the first percentile in all of the different subtests, so that would definitely affect their score. And actually this student was also very low in low or very low or average. So I just want you to note here that they have the standard score, the percentile, and the age equivalent. So you can either do age equivalent or grade equivalent, but I do want the standard score in your charts, and I also do like the classification. It just kind of helps understand. So if this person had put it in, it would have been all very low. So that's not necessarily as helpful, but here you can see that the student actually does have some low averages. So there was some things to look at there. And here's the extended. So this is all for the Woodcock-Johnson as well. But you can see that their tables look a little bit different. This student also went in to talk about relative proficiency index, standard score, and percentile rank. That's good to just have there in case people are reading the report who don't necessarily have all this information, but it's not actually required for this class. Now here is the standard score. This student actually was supposed to also have the percentile and did not get that in. So I'll actually just add it right here. So it's one of those things, like I said, this wasn't perfect, but percentile. But it was, that happens as well. And it'll still give you an idea. So you need the standard score, the classification, and the percentile score. Excuse me. For the Brigance, you can see that we're just looking at the correct score, the raw score, the total number of questions, and then the percentage correct. The Brigance is a list of tasks, so it really is how many you get right, how many you get wrong each time you take the test, and you can see that this person actually gave the language development, and all those subtests, the academic and cognitive literacy, all those subtests, the academic and cognitive math tests, and gave the scores for all of those. And then we've got the work sample, and you can see for this we have the work sample there, and then the directions should also be here. So let's see if this person put the directions. No, but that should also be included so that I know, or the reader knows, what it is that they're looking at when you're looking at somebody's, well, I guess she's got the list 3 foods that you like to eat for lunch here, but you know, explain why you chose this assessment for a work sample. So the next section is around the strengths. So this is, remember I told you to take notes while you were administering the test so that you could highlight all the things that the student's really able to do well. And then that's followed with specific examples. So, you know, here during the Brigance, he was able to match 23 of the 26, and identify 24 of 26 uppercase letters, and match and identify 22 out of 26 lowercase letters in random order. So that's a specific support for you saying that, you know, he was doing okay in letter word identification. So, and she also gave from the Woodcock-Johnson what he was able to do. So that is using your assessments to demonstrate the strength. So you can see that they also did it here where she talked about the Woodcock-Johnson and the rat and the writing sample, and that what he was able to do well. The areas of need, you're going to do the same thing. So now you've said, you know, these are the areas that the student's doing really well in, and these are the areas that you really need to look at, and once again, giving specific examples. So we said when administering the WJ4 and RAT4, Matthew was able to solve problems if he had a picture visual. He could point to the answer or was given the opportunity to respond orally, and he refused to answer or said I don't know to questions that required a written response or had no visuals. So that gave us a specific understanding of kind of where Matthew is. And then this one actually talks about his behavioral issues with specific examples. So he had taken the janitor's golf cart without permission, as reported by, and then the date that it was reported. So then we move into the IEP goals. And so we're going to look at 3 IEP goals for this course. Usually one is a math, one's an English, and possibly another one might be like a behavior or transition goal. But this is just based on the assessments and based on the need, what goal did you decide? So we'll look at this one here. So a good goal is always the SMART goal. So you've got specific dates and information that you're asking for. So here we go. We've got the annual goal by July 17th, 2016. When given a teacher-created worksheet of 10 addition problems with touch points with add-ins to 9, Harold will correctly answer 8 out of 10 problems on 4 of the 5 trials as measured by data collection and teacher observation. So you can see that she put in, you know, the who, what, when, where, and why. Next, you're going to have the progress monitoring area section, and this is where you're going to say, okay, now these are our goals, and this is how we're going to make sure that not only myself as the case manager, but the teachers, maybe the paraprofessionals, the student, and the family will all be working together to make sure that Harold and Matthew are working towards their goals. And next is the collaboration. So you should always be working with other people. And so here we go. We've got, whoops, we've got collaboration. So we've got, the up above, it should have said Spanish as well. But they've got the working with, the ELL services to support the Spanish here, working with the occupational therapist and speech and language pathologist, as well as mental health services to help support the student, and also possibly having translation support. Here she talks about what the family, a note being sent home, services from the school, with occupational therapy and administrative staff, talking to the administrative staff about what it's like to work with somebody with Down syndrome to make sure that they are being treated well. And then the final piece of your report is your reflection on the assessment process. So I know that this is not going to be the most perfect, nor is usually in special ed any report that you do going to be perfect. So what I want you to do is actually go through and answer these questions. What went right? What went wrong? What would I do differently next time? Who should I work closer with next time? Where can I go for support in the future? And then any other thoughts. And this is really where, if you had any sort of struggles with your report, then I want you to start talking about them here and say, hey, this is what happened. This is how I dealt with it. For example, I couldn't test the student anymore. I contacted Dr. Jez. She said, to make sure to write it up in my report. This is what I would do in the future to make sure that I was able to complete the testing. So really, it's just kind of the wrap up to your whole thing. Hopefully, this document is going to go into your portfolio when you're trying to get jobs, and you can show what a professional job you do on assessment reports. And you can also show what a good job you do on being a reflective educator, which is really important. All right, as always, if you have any questions, please call, email, or text. I'm here to support you and make sure that this is really a positive experience for you, because I know you all can do a really great job if given the opportunity. All right, have a great day. Bye.